What's up, guys? How's it going? Sorry, I'm going to be hobbling around today. Let me get the chat set up. I'm going to stand as much as I can, but I've got an ankle scooter or a knee scooter right here because I hurt my ankle pretty bad today on a run. But we persevere. We practice what we preach, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing? Let me pull up the chat on my phone so I can see it. And we'll get going. All right. What's up, Nancy? What's up, Carol? What's up, Sean? What's up, Ironic? Hello, hello. What's up, Rafa? How's it going? All right. For those of you that I have here right now, how's the quality of the video? Is the quality all good? I'm excited too, Rafa. Bad. How about now? Is it getting better? It looks super clear. I think it slowly but surely is going to come back. So for the 11 of you that I have right now, I want you to drop one goal in the chat. It can be anything, right? It's related to your financial goals, your spiritual goals, your mental health goals, your physical goals. Tell me one thing you want to use this information to accomplish. You ever been on probation? No, I have not. But I feel like I'm on physical probation right now with a busted ankle. But let me know in the chat. I want to know a goal that you have, something that we can place an intention on. Sean wants more joy. I love that. Rafa wants to see past her eyes and learn to see everything as frequency and energy. That's a great goal. It's a great goal. Anyone else have a goal or intention they want to set, or just something that I have like a frame of reference on what to call on? And if you haven't already, go ahead and get the workbook. I pinned it so you'll have access to just a workbook that I put together with the material that I kind of talked about in my YouTube video today. More self-acceptance, being still, Kalechi. Sorry if I butcher anyone's name. Great. Ironic wants to work on their finances by helping others and build new online businesses. That's great. Me personally, I want to take everything I've learned as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a creator over the last 7 years, and I want to apply it in a direction consciously in my content and my work and the eventual workshops that I will release to you guys going forward. Someone's like, the white neuro knowledge actually goes live. Yes. Jason said to have my business fully make money. These are great goals, guys. So let's kind of start from the top. And don't mind me, I'm going to be hobbling around. Let's say we have a goal related to money, right? This could be business. could be savings. Let's say we have a goal related to our well-being, right? This could be joy, love. We have a goal related to material things, right? We want a house. We want to pay off debt. You get the message. Financial freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to drop something that you think might be the greatest threat to you achieving your goals. This is a mindset called post-mortem. If we were to look back and you were not able to accomplish your goals, what would have been the things that got in the way? Hey, radio, I appreciate the dono. I feel like a streamer now. Thanks to you. I appreciate you. Start a Discord. If you guys would be interested in me putting a community together, go ahead and let me know too. Someone's like, bro has AVAX. Jason says beliefs. 100%. So let's start listing those out. Oh, Sean's on the same wavelength. I promise you the funnest thing, I'm already getting goosebumps, guys. We're freaking 6 minutes in. My favorite thing to do is call on you guys, and you might be sitting in different parts of the world, thinking different things, living a different life, but you all answer the same thing. There's just something interesting about that will kind of come back full circle on. We have beliefs is a huge thing. What else? ADHD. We got Brazil in the chat. Let's go. Environment. Nancy, I love that. I'm just going to make that short. Environment. What else? Come on. We got 19, 20 people here right now. I want everyone to engage, not taking action. There we go, Russ. Resistance, procrastination. You guys are killing it. Procrastination. All right. Unconsciousness. All right. You guys are absolutely killing it. Now, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat if you've experienced one or more of the potential things that will prevent you from getting to your goals. If you felt the resistance, if you felt the self-doubt, if you felt the overwhelm, if you felt the self-concept kind of falling short, have you experienced this? Drop a 1 in the chat. I'm taking screenshots of those as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to attack this from a variety of angles, but I want to start from the end, right? The logical mind is always going to try and figure it out. I know I get stressed out trying to logically figure it out. My mind's like, well, Grant, I got to keep you alive. I got to make sure you survive. So we got to know when you go step out into the unknown, when you go step out and try and have a new experience for yourself, are you going to die? That's literally what my mind and my body is starting to experience when I step into this unknown, right? Which is why we start to experience these things. These are all a product of that survival mechanism, right? Now, I want to start from the end. Your guys' entire goal, and this is everything I've learned. I really want to come to you guys with humility. Like, I really want to come to you guys with where I'm at in my life and my understanding of this knowledge, and ideally bring you guys to a place where we can see eye to eye. We can't trust our ego, right? We can't trust that logical mind at all times because its only job is to protect us, even if it does harm to us, right? You've probably experienced the resistance, the beliefs, the environment, the procrastination, but those don't help you. But your body still falls victim to that program. So we need to uncover truth. This is going to be the first thing. All right. The second thing, when we have this truth, is we need to be in alignment with it. The third thing is surrender. Oh my God, Rafa. You guys, this is the biggest donation I've ever got on a stream. So thank you so much, Rafa. I just want to send some love. But you said, I need to finally see and feel the universe as pure frequency and vibration. I had a 180 shift in my life the last year, starting fresh. Well, that's a beautiful place to be. So let's start there. And the funny thing is, you're already kind of hitting on the 3 points that I just highlighted. So you're like, my goal is to see clear. I need to finally see and feel the universe as pure frequency. Well, guess what, Rafa? It already is. This is the mindset I want you guys to adopt. The truth is, ladies and gentlemen, the spiritual reality, this wisdom, even though it feels new, is actually the foundation. It's actually the starting point, right? Everything that we've built and logically tried to understand and place labels on and write books about and give speeches and make podcasts and do science and do experiments, that all came after this fundamental truth. This fundamental truth is we are always connected to this quantum field. For me, in my life, it's God. Like, this is what God is to me. God is the source energy. And I believe the way we get to the source energy is through the metaphor that all these great spiritual teachers left behind, right? Buddha talks about the complete death of desire. Jesus Christ talks about we must crucify and place our lower self on the cross, right? We must live a cruciform life, which means we must submit and surrender our will to the divine, right? All spiritual teachings talk about the same thing. That's the big, if I had one message I want to come across in my content, it's that everything you see is talking about the same thing. And this is the root, this is the source, this is the origin. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask the question. Jay, my brother, Jay, and to the rest of you, how do you enter this state? I'm going to give you the answer, but I want to see what the collective comes up with right now. If you've watched my videos enough, it's going to be through things I'm laying out already. How do we enter the state that we seek? Let me know. And again, Rafa, thank you. I can feel the love. Congratulations on the full 180. Keep coming to the lives, keep watching the videos, and we're going to make sure that we get you into the state you seek. Nancy, humility. Kaleki says present moment awareness. Beautiful. Sean, alignment. Priya says feeling whole and complete. Carol says by feeling the emotions as if it is already there. This is all you need to understand. Truly, the only thing that you need to experience on an energetic level is surrender. And this is to fully let go. We're going to come back to the answers, but I want you guys to just be with me right now. If you're on your phone, if you're taking notes, if you're a little distracted, you got a TV on in the background, just focus on my voice right now. And just slow your breath down. I want you to shake that energy out. Any density you feel, just shake it out. It effortlessly falls away. Breathe it out. If any thoughts come up, just let them be. Let them pass. Don't fight them. If you can consistently do that, it's right now. It's stillness. It's no thing. Is when you don't have thoughts, when you're not following the emotional weight of your feelings, when you're not allowing external things to stimulate you, you find that inner stillness. That is everything you're looking for. Libra Vera says, my energy is so clear. What does that mean? Rafa, I'm going to give you some insight right now. You're not stuck on anything. You just need to allow yourself to fall into that state. But I want you to do something for me, Rafa. If you have ChatGPT, I want you to go to ChatGPT. You're probably like, Brant, this is weird. Why are you calling on AI when you're talking about something spiritual? ChatGPT pretty much serves as a mirror. Some things I do when I'm feeling like super tense, when I'm feeling super stressed, when I'm feeling that control. I've got my 10-finger necklace on reality because I'm trying to control life and I'm not submitting. I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll be like, I know I need to surrender. But right now, I'm stressing over these things. But the truth is, I know that I am connected to the infinite source. What are some things I can do right now to fall into alignment and enter this state of surrender? And Rafa, double down on it. You guys, it's an internal practice. It's not the fact that you're talking to ChatGPT. It's not the fact that you're journaling. It's the fact that you're going inward. It's the fact that you're working through things you have internally going on, through perceptions, through programs. And ChatGPT is like a live journal. I just tell it to be short, quick, and communicative, like we're having a conversation, and just give me insights that I can work off of. And every time it gives me an insight, I take it deeper. One thing I want you guys to do is like write this information down. If you're ever listening to my videos or anyone else's videos and some stuff stands out to you, write it down because you're bringing awareness to it. Now, I want you to drop a 1, a 2, or a 3 in the chat, depending on which one you struggle the most with. 1, do you struggle with the truth, which is the information, like that this is the finite reality, this is what's going on? 2, do you struggle with alignment? Do you struggle to make sure your beliefs, emotions, actions, and thoughts align with the truth? Or 3, do you struggle with surrender? Ironic says 3. Rafa, 3. Sean, 3. I need to hop on the scooter for a little bit because my ankle's starting to give out. We're still here. Colette G says 2. Russ, 3. Preston, 3. Carol, 3. All right, surrender. Surrender is the overwhelming answer. All right, we're going to talk off the dome right now, and we're going to break down some of the things that are preventing you from surrendering. Surrendering for me is an ultimate letting go. It's an act, right? It's not something you understand. It's not something you go out and do with your hands. It's something you just find in this moment. You literally let go. The way I let go is by backwards. The easiest way is to align ourselves with truth. To align ourselves with truth is, if I have these goals, I think we're reconnecting a little bit. All right. How about now? Do we make it back? Drop a 1 in the chat if it's still bugging out a bit. Drop a 2 in the chat if it's better. I want to make sure I have your guys' attention. All right, we got a 0.75 and a 2. That's somewhere in the mix. Somewhere in the mix. 1.5, 2. All right, I think we're coming back. FC, what's up, brother? Nice to see you. My brother just texted me and said we're back. We got the stream team on dial. All right. If you guys actually want to surrender, the reason you can't surrender is because your ego is holding on to lower vibration mindsets, right? You have resistance because you're holding on to something. To be in a state of force creates counter force. That means when you were trying to force something, let's say you're trying to move a 500-pound rock and you're pushing against it and you're giving everything you got and it's barely moving. It feels like it's pushing back. That's because you're exerting force. Versus if that 500-pound rock fell off a mountain, gravity is going to make sure that rock hits the bottom effortlessly. That's power. That is a state of existence. Gravity does everything we need it to do without force. It's its natural state. It's something we need to change energetically. Rafa says, I can surrender during deep meditations daily, where you do 2 hours of meditation. But the thing is to keep the frequency and energy after the meditation with the eyes open throughout the day. Well, Rafa, would you say that when you find that stillness, when you find that peace, do you have the opportunity to choose that in the moment consciously? Let's say you have a goal and you're like, oh my God, I'm starting to feel this anxiety. I'm starting to feel this stress. Are you going to double down on that and let that take control of you? Or are you going to take a breath and be like, whatever happens, happens. I can't control this. All I can do is surrender. Even this is part of the journey. You guys, we think life is perfect. We think life is supposed to be perfect. But I'm going to break this down in the form of a metaphor for you. So we're going to start to look at energy in the form of a spectrum. So we know that everything is energy, right? Everything is the source energy. The higher frequencies are waves, but they're quicker. Josh, what's up? The slow waves are bigger. You guys, this is why we operate in cycles. This is why we have subconscious loops. Think about it. You have some days that feel good. You're going to be up here on this energetic high. Because you're on this energetic high, you're like, oh my God, this is how life's supposed to be all the time. But because you think it's supposed to be that way all the time, when life starts to go down, you start to hold on and cling. And because you're holding on and clinging on to the fact that you think this is supposed to be the king primary experience, you start to spiral out of control. You start to spiral downwards because you're holding on to the fact that you think life is only going to be positive. But this is the difference. between the higher energy states. There's less up and down. I can't even do an arrow, there's so much space. The energy is more consistent. It's adaptive. Because it comes from power. Power, I'm going to use the metaphor of love. Love is a super high frequency energy. When my mother raised me and my brother, I was introduced to unconditional love, but I was also introduced to tough love. But at a deep core, she was consistent in how she showed up. Even though me and my brother might have been crazy, her love was continuous. When we got sick, she would show up. When we had a bad day and we fought with her, she would still show up. We would still be her priority. We would still be the center of her world. Now, the metaphor I'm using for this is because when you have a high frequency perspective, when you have a high frequency state of mind, it's not that bad things don't happen to you. It's that you're just able to frame it into your worldview. If you have a positive mindset, I hurt my ankle today. I have a half marathon in a week, but I actually believe God is doing this for a reason. I actually believe this has a purpose. I believe this is here to slow me down so I can get clear on my intentions for my goals, so I can show up as a better version of myself for you guys. Nancy says, how do you change the inner state of your being to actually doing? Trauma has been the only thing keeping me moving forward in certain aspects of my life. All right, Nancy, I'm going to answer that. But for everyone else, drop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense. Drop a 1 in the chat if you realize you might just be addicted to the highs and holding on to the idea of the high as it starts to go down. And you might not just be adaptive enough to have those highs and lows quick. Let them go quickly. Just move through the experience. Drop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense. But Nancy asks, how do you change the inner state of your being to actually doing? The saying goes like this: the proper action, the proper doing comes from a state of being. If I rolled my ankle today and I was in a bad mindset, let's just say my energy was super victimized. I was like, I hurt my ankle just like this 3 years ago. It's never going to heal. I'm going to end up in the same place I was, out for 8 weeks, and I'm just going to be stuck on a couch and not have the ability to do anything. If that's how I'm feeling internally, and those feelings are causing me to think more things, and I'm sitting on the couch for 7 hours waiting for a live stream like this, you think I'd show up to the live stream, or I'd just stay on the couch and be the victim? My action, my doing came because of the perspective I had of the negative things in my life. You're saying, I'm holding on to trauma that's keeping me from moving forward in certain aspects of my life. That's a mindset. If that's what you're focused on, that's what you're creating more of. If you're like, it's just the trauma holding me back, that's an external thing. You're saying these events fuck me up, and now I can be permanently fucked up and use the events as an excuse. It's not me minimizing your life experience. That's me giving you a call to arms. Is your goals and the life you want for yourself more important than reliving that trauma? Do you want to be bigger than that experience? That's what Dispenza says. Are you willing to think greater than that experience? Thinking greater from that experience starts right now when we're like, shit happens to everyone. This is my story. This is that point in the movie where I get knocked down 7 times and I stand up 8. And radio, that's completely fine. It's completely fine. You're not alone. I've had trauma in my life. My brothers have had trauma in their life. My mom, my dad, they've had trauma in their life. My ankle had trauma today. But the human gift, what makes us divine, is our ability to turn the darkness into the light. And we turn our darkness into the light through awareness. That's why consciousness is illumination, because we can shine light on things. We shine light on things through awareness. And through shining light on things with a grander perspective, we transmutate everything that happens. Because I learned to see things in a positive light, my past, my present, and my future was changed in that manner. Drop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense. Drop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense. Hey, Deb from Toronto. Rafa says, what do you do when the experience seems so intense? You have to become objective. You have to become objective, right? Subjective is personalizing something. It's saying, hey, I'm Rafa. I'm the only one that goes through this experience. You see how that's subjective? That's the ego. That's focusing on yourself. That's focusing on the low energy thing of matter because you're identifying with chemicals and material feelings. Becoming objective is expanding your concept of self, which is why it's all about the truth. Because if we're aligned with the truth, then we can surrender all the illusion. We can surrender all the old outdated mindsets. Rafa says, in the last 12 months, I'm divorced after 10 years, lost 2 dogs, lost my 180K business, got arrested, lost all my friends. I hit rock bottom. Well, guess what? The only place to go is up. And I know how heavy it feels. I'm not minimizing that. But that's what gives you power. That's what makes you great. The fact that you've experienced those things and you still have the opportunity to bounce back. The fact that you're still on this live stream and choosing an opportunity for yourself to grow, to be different, to not let those circumstances define you, to keep moving and allow the thing to become part of your story. Not let them be the story. Not saying, close the book. That's the final chapter. You have the opportunity to choose. Sarah's got a great point. Sometimes when something so bad happens, I ask, how could this end up being a positive thing? Well, Rafa, I would ask the question, what is something you've been waiting to do? Because God will move things out of your life in order to make room for something. What's something you feel like you've been called to do your entire life? And if we detach from that identity, if we detach from the business, if we detach from the loss, if we detach from the mistakes, what remains? What truth is still there? What has still been with you through every season, through the good days and the bad days? What's that message, that lightning in a bottle that you feel like you've only been called to do? Tell us right now in the chat. I'm curious, because that's what's being made room for. Take your time though. But you guys, it all comes back to this information. The truth is, everything is divine. Everything is coming from this source. Everything we see as good and bad is going to take its course. It's going to be like waves crashing on shore. Well, guess where the waves go when they crash on shore? Back to the ocean, back to the source. So we might be holding on to an experience, but that is not going to be the experience. When you start to introduce yourself to the knowledge of the truth, you align with it. And alignment is your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Ironic says, I've always wanted to be a coach or speaker, but I haven't been able to help myself or my family to this point. And that's okay too. That's completely fine. What I would say is be abundant. Continue to show up in the way you show up, but choose to take on more out of abundance, out of love, about purpose. I've always wanted to be a coach and speaker too. I just turned on a camera. Rafa says, help people like I've been helped when I started my spiritual journey 8 years ago through plant medicine, Dr. Joe retreats, and advanced meditations. All right. Funny enough, one of the most common things I've noticed we all share is, yes, everyone wants financial freedom. Yes, everyone wants to make more money, but they actually want to do it in a purpose-driven way. I want you to drop a P in the chat if you have a goal of owning a purpose-driven business, doing something similar to me or something similar to helping people in the way that you've been helped or impacted your life. Rafa wants to. Aligning Soul wants to. Nancy wants to. You guys, I promise you this is a more common experience than not. Sean wants to. Everyone does. Literally everyone here. Okay. Now we're getting a little off topic from the conversation. But I felt this intuitive feeling. I talk a lot about the spirituality. Josh is like, I want to be Elon Musk's son. Boy, get back to work. I've had this intuitive feeling that, yes, I talk a lot about the energetics, but I haven't ever really talked about business, right? What it takes to do this. Drop a 1 in the chat if you'd ever be open to me doing a stream where I kind of talk about how you can use social media to build an online presence and make money and do something purposeful, aligned with your goals. Thank you, Taya. Yes, a lot of ones. I would be more than happy to make videos about my social media, right? Social media is like an algorithm. Social media is energy. You get what you give. Mylan says 1, let's go. All right, well, first, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to see change, it all comes down to our intention. And our intentions made up our thoughts, our emotions, which make up our actions. Thoughts are frequencies we send out. And emotions are the experiences we draw back to us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you think about an event in your past that you did not enjoy, what emotion do you get? Tell me right now. Everyone just drop one word. If you think about something you do not want to experience or that you've experienced in your past, what comes up? Shock and fucking despair. That's one way to put it. For sure. I've got some experiences in my life. Cringe, shame, 100%. Well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what I just told you to do? Guess what I just told you to do? I told you to think a thought Guess what? You thought that thought. You channeled that frequency. And guess what? An emotion came back to you in the form of an experience. Isn't that weird? Oh my God, maybe this information does work. Maybe we're onto something here. Now, forget that. That's old news. The past doesn't even exist. For all of you that dropped a P in the chat because you want purpose, you want financial freedom, you want to become a better version of yourself, you want to overcome things you've experienced in life, I want you to just envision yourself. It doesn't have to be a specific scene. I want you to feel that feeling. It can be from anything. Like, so I get that feeling from looking at other people's businesses sometimes too. Like sometimes I'll look at other things and be like, oh my God, that person has a great YouTube channel. Like I get that feeling, that's where I want to go. It's magnetic to me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're starting to get the feeling of where you want to go. Drop 1 in the chat if you've at least had some type of sensation related to that direction. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Aditya's got it. Sean's got it. Nancy's got it. Russ has got it. Sarah's got it. Ironic's got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be high-level spiritual information. So remember, as we dive into what I'm about to say, it's not what you see with your eyes. Think about it. These external things, remember, I was like, picture this event in your past. It doesn't exist. You just created it and gave yourself an experience. You literally use your power as a conscious creator, but I subconsciously programmed you to experience something. I've also asked you to experience something in the future, right? I asked you to pick something in the future, a direction you want to go, and experience whatever emotion is associated with that. To live with frequency in mind, to think about energy and vibration and how it impacts our lives. What Dispenza says, when you disconnect, when you enter that quantum, when you feel that feeling, guess what? You just did that. It is that simple. It is literally that simple. But we need to anchor you in the proper information. It was not that image in the future that gave you that feeling. You gave that feeling to yourself because you know that it's the frequency of the life you want to go. This is another, maybe it's not a good metaphor. I'm not encouraging what I'm about to mention, but if you've done any type, if you've drank alcohol, if you've smoked weed, if you've done any type of psychedelic, you've probably entered this like euphoric state. Like, whoa, you're having this experience. You got introduced to a frequency. But people become addicted to that frequency and they think that it was the weed that gave them it. They think it was the alcohol that gave them it. No, it was the surrender. It was the letting go. It was the allowing yourself to have this magical and mystical experience. So if we have a direction, we have to make decisions with our thoughts and our emotions that line up with our actions. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a certain experience, it starts with saying no to the things that give you that experience you don't want. If it's thinking about that old event that gives you the anxiety that you don't want, you can't feed that thought. You need to slow down. You need to become objective and be like, I know where this road leads. I know where it leads. And I'm not going to let it take me there. That's what becoming conscious is. That's what becoming an observer is. And guess what? When you get an intuitive feeling, like I got a random intuitive feeling to live stream on Tuesday. I was just on a walk before I became a cripple. I'm on a knee scooter right now, ladies and gentlemen. I got an intuitive feeling to live stream. I'm like, I'm just going to do it because it excites me. I actually enjoy the setting. I actually really do enjoy spending my time with you guys. I'm following that excitement. I'm following the direction I want to go. I don't want to be like the other YouTube creators. I don't want to be like Zero Knowledge. I don't want to be like Joe Dispenza. I don't want to be like Tony Robbins. I want to be Grant. And the only way I can be Grant and go the direction that God has planned for Grant is to follow that feeling. When I told you guys to picture your goal, it wasn't the goal. It was the frequency of your purpose. It was the direction you're being called. It was this sensation, this potential manifesting in here. And you're like, I can see it. I can feel it. Drop a 1 in the chat if I'm making sense right now. Drop a 2 in the chat if I'm speaking out my ass and you're like, Grant, what are you talking about? Let's go, Chris Sutter. You guys need to have an intention now, because we could spend all our time focusing on the thoughts, energies, thoughts, emotions, and actions. We could spend all our time focused on this, once again, logical world. Am I thinking the right thought? Am I feeling the right emotion? Am I taking the right actions? No, that's the logical brain. Do not waste your fucking creative potential on that. I want you guys to focus on being present. I want you guys to focus on cultivating that feeling that I asked you guys to call up. Let's do it again. Think about that version of yourself in the future. Call up that feeling. Place your focus on it. I don't care if you place a label on it. I don't care if it's in some random setting. I don't care if it's some dollar amount. That's an illusion. That's an image that we're trying to create. That's us trying to put an expectation on it. Guess what? That energy you're feeling being called up existed before we placed a label on it. You manifested that energy, which kind of confirms all the information we're talking about. Everything starts energetically. So this is what you need to be focused on. It's this way of living. If you want this certain experience out of the quantum because it vibrates in this certain way and you want it, 1, say no to the things that don't feel like that. 2, say yes to the things that do feel like that. Because when you live in this way, it is an intention. You're saying, I know this to be true. I know that this is how life operates. I'm aiming to align. Drop an A in the chat if you finally understand what alignment is, if you understand what energetic alignment is. It's literally just choosing that feeling. It's not what the action is. Like you guys, this morning I was up at 4 in the morning. I was up at 4 in the morning and I'm like, I feel like Superman right now. I wrote a newsletter for the YouTube video today. I was like, I'm gonna go on a run because I got a half marathon in a week. I went on the run and I busted my ankle. Like bad. Like that shit looks like a balloon right now. But it had to be for a purpose. Like it had to be. Because I've had this experience before. In 2022, when I was $80,000 in debt, I busted my ankle just like this. The same exact type of injury. And then I built $1 million business after it. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to see patterns that look like the direction I want to go. My right ankle, Curtis. Get Ironic says, alignment is joining you on this live. Yes, Teo, exactly. So I just got to say it from my perspective. Does anyone have any questions? And if you don't have any questions, drop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense. Curtis, funny enough, I was looking that stuff up. I was like, why did I hurt the same thing? And I was like, what's the energetics of the ankle? Like, you know how we have energy centers? Like you guys, as above, so below. Like everything is a pattern of creation. Like there's 7 planets in the solar system, just like there's 7 energetic bodies in us. I'm like, I don't fucking care how the ankle plays out into the fucking grand architecture of the universe. I'm just curious if there's a pattern, because it's going to confirm my conspiracies, and it confirmed my conspiracies. And Curtis, my right ankle is related to like direction in my career. It's about taking action. Would you guys agree or not? I disappeared off of YouTube for a few months. Like for a few months there, I wasn't as active as I was in the beginning. Drop a 2 in the chat if you remember that. Drop a 2 in the chat if you remember I had this big sprint at the beginning where I just started popping off and I was everywhere. And then I just disappeared. I know a lot of you remember that. That's because I lacked direction. I needed to come back and align myself and be like, all right, Grant, what do you want? Grant, who do you want to be? Grant, where do you want to go? And I'm leaning to the direction of business. Like, this information is so important, but it needs to be anchored to like the real world. Like it needs to be anchored to action. And one of the ways I've done it is business. So I think me incorporating that type of content would be cool, but not some boring business, not some balance sheets and fucking taxes. More like, this is how you create a message that does well on social media, and you start to attract your tribe. When you attract your tribe and you give them value, they want to work with you in a further capacity. Drop a 3 in the chat if that sounds cool. If you like the idea of me working that type of conversation into the live streams too. Let's go, K9. Nice to see you. Ironic, that's exactly what was going down. It was just like, slow down. The funny thing that's ironic about this for me is I have been physically put in a place where I'm not able to move. But energetically, I'm able to recall my energy and become present again. Like I literally can't stand on 2 feet and make myself food. I had to come back to my family's house that's like 20 minutes from me so I could get some support as I go through the beginning healing before I can walk again. Like I actually can't stand on my ankle. I have to be present. I have to go slow. I have to be okay with the negative thoughts that come to me at random times when I'm icing. I have to be okay. I just gotta let go. I gotta surrender. I gotta trust the process. But I let it get to a point where the universe had to step in and be like, boy, we're snatching your ankle so you can learn this lesson. Rafa, I live in San Diego. Close to OC. Dude, great question. What's up, Steven? I was looking for the answer and the first time I ever found the channel. Let's go. Drop a 5 in the chat. If you guys are ever on the West Coast, would you be down to do like an in-person event? I've always wanted to I think church is meaningful, but not through like structured religion. I think the sole act of getting together like this, like to me, this is church. Drop a 5 in the chat if you'd ever want to be in the same room and have this conversation with people just like me and you. I'm going to keep it on YouTube. Don't worry. I'm going to keep it on YouTube for sure. This is where we build that foundation. And it starts with you guys that show up. Sean, Sarah, so many of you guys have shown up so much. Like you guys are so consistent. And I'm going to make sure to show up for you guys. Like I actually was thinking about this yesterday. And it was funny. It was you, Sarah. I'm like, if Sarah or Sean, if I ever saw you guys in person, I would know exactly who you are. I'd give you a hug and be like, you were there with me from the beginning. Like I got nothing but love. K9, I appreciate you. You guys, the greatest realization I have is that these spiritual teachings aren't some far off concept. They're our most natural state. These spiritual teachings are based on us. Think about it. Everything that's been put down in a book, everything that's been given in spoken word has been through the lens of a human consciousness. Bro, we are the veil. We are the veil between heaven and earth. We are the veil between the divine realms of awareness and the physical realms of creation. It's about us, ladies and gentlemen. They just want to make it seem like it's not. They want us to feel like we don't have power. They want us to feel like we're alone on this journey. I always tell myself, I'm not the type of leader to lead from a throne. I'm the type of leader to lead from the front of the crowd. I'm going to walk the streets, and I want you guys to walk right with me. This is our natural state. It's not something to be learned. It's not something to be chased. It's something to be remembered. It's something to be chosen in every moment. To walk around with humility, to walk around with love, to walk around with grace. To give the experience to a stranger that you would want given to yourself. The most powerful experiences I've ever had were when my clothing brand was going to $80,000 in debt. And I took my 2 youngest brothers, filled up the car with thousands of dollars of product, and we just went to downtown San Diego to the homeless and gave away all the clothes I had. That's the moment that defines us. Oh my God, FC, you'd fly from Colorado when that goes down? Oh my God, that's awesome. Hey, K9, I'm gonna walk with you too. Teo, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm going through the same journey as you guys, ladies and gentlemen. All right, drop a 1 in the chat if I should start like a Discord, like a community where we can just have a group chat and we can all talk. I'm gonna work on that for next Tuesday. I'll drop it on the live stream. Let's go. Yeah, we need that. I think I might do like, all right, give me platform suggestions. What platforms do you guys prefer? Discord, School, Telegram? I have a Telegram, but it's not the same. It's just like me sending messages. Hey, K9, life happens. Just remember, walk in the room like God sent you. Be the man you've always wanted to be. There's no other thing in your life that can take that away from you. Walk in the room like God sent you. Then tell me how that room responds. Because everyone's anointed. You just need to be remembered. Josh, nice to see you. We got Discord. School is good for biz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up here on an hour. We're going to be calling it right now. Drop a 2 in the chat if you had a good time. Drop a 2 in the chat if you're going to be here next Tuesday. We're going to keep the vibes rolling. My ankle is swelling up, so I need to go put it in a bucket of ice. I'll make sure to work on the community platform. I got nothing else to do. I'm riding the scooter around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. It really means a lot, for real. Like, I would never forget these moments. I want to walk this path, and I want to devote my life to this. And I want you guys to hold me accountable. The version of Grant that I put on display before you right now, make sure I'm that guy every step of the way. I'm going to hold myself accountable, but I want you to hold me accountable too. I just want to be me. I just want to give my love to the world. I got nothing but love for you guys. I'm about to roll out of here. Coach is casually curling his Pacific Beach. I'm close to Pacific Beach. Rafa, thanks again for the love. 2, baby. 2, baby. All right. We'll be back. See you in the next one. I'm out of here. Come on. I'm kidding. I just wanted to look cool and ride off into the sunset.